Welcome to an absolutely beautiful spring day here in the south of England. Today, follow me as I prepare for spring and summer. A lot of work needs to be done in a garden. A garden this size, there's a lot of waste over winter that we have to get rid of or inevitably use and recycle. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy up all the pruning cuttings that I did over winter. So the apple trees and the ash trees. I'm going to water the seedlings in the greenhouse. And while that's all being done, because it's still rather chilly down here, because it's still early spring, I'm going to set a lovely outdoor fire to get rid of some of the unwanted woody bits and providing a little bit of heat in the meantime. Now that we've got the fire started, we are going to sort this big pile of wood. It comprises mostly of our cuttings from our ash and our apple trees. We can use them in some really interesting, creative ways. We did a few last year where we built our own supports for our beans and our sweet peas, which we're going to do again this year. And something new, I'm going to try and make a latticed or a woven raised bed border for my vegetable garden. So behind here is my bug hotel. You can't see it, can you? Well, let me show you, and then we'll add a few of the scraggly branches that we've got on the top of the pile today. No doubt we'll have loads more whilst we're processing that big pile of wood. You can't see any of this, and it does really add a place for nature to hide. And it's just nice to do our bit. Right, here are my lovely seedlings. They haven't been watered for a couple of days, and there's a couple of dry spots. I've been looking online. I've always watered my seedlings from the top, but apparently it's better to water from the water catchment tray, just because it entices the roots to grow downwards rather than staying at the top of the pot. So I'm going to give it a go. Today we're going to make beef stew. I'm going to use this beautiful beef shin, one of the best bits of meat to use for beef stew. We're going to dice up a sofrito, which is just diced up carrots, onion and celery. Before we fry off our sofrito, we'll fry 4 pieces of bacon, which will give that smoky, earthy flavour to the stew. I will have a bouquet garni of rosemary, thyme and bay. Add a couple of cloves of garlic. So I'm going to add a leek to my stew. It adds a bit more of an oniony flavour. Chop the potatoes and carrots into bite-sized pieces so you get a bit of texture in your stew. After that, we'll pop in a good glass of red wine. Use something that you're willing to drink. A nice tin of chopped tomatoes and 600 ml of beef stock. Right, shall we get started? Remember to pat dry your beef as dry as you possibly can make it, and that helps prevent it from sticking to the bottom, and it also helps it crisp up or brown up a lot quicker. The oil's nice and hot. One of the secrets to a good beef stew, browning your meat, getting that crispy, deep, dark brown colour. It's called the Maynard reaction, which gives it a nutty, sweet, umami flavour. Turn the temperature right down, pop your bacon bits in. There's something about adding pork to beef, especially beef stew, that is absolutely delicious. Okay, now we're at that time where we can start preheating our oven. Preheat it to 150, and that is just where we want it. It's crispy bits, the fat has rendered out of the pork. Now we can fry off our sofrito in the pork fat with the oil. We're just looking for the vegetables to to get soft in the pan, no browning. As soon as you see your onions start to go translucent, pop your garlic in. And fry for another 2 minutes. So before we put the garlic in, pop the leeks in. All right, those have wilted down lovely. Just sprinkle in the garlic. Oh, that's almost instantaneous. You smell that garlic. Now in goes all the liquids. So that is the wine. Your chopped tomatoes, pop the beef back in, and then cover the beef with stock. Just make sure there's enough liquid in the pot to cover the beef so it doesn't dry out in the oven. Give it a little stir about so you get all the vegetables and all the bits. Then just pop in your bouquet garni, pop the lid on and put it in the oven for 2 to 3 hours until you get your desired meat texture. Perfect. That's just how I like it. Not turning into mush, still maintaining structure, but not tough. Perfect. And then we're going to pop our vegetables in. I'm going to season it now. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Make our dumplings, pop those on, and it goes into the oven for another half an hour. Right. Now this should be delicious. Ready, steady. Mmm. My cooking is always good. So I'm very good at cooking me, I think. Very good.
Too good.
Mm. If I do say so myself.